God, please watch over us, forgive us, and guide us through these very troubled and challenging days. Please give us the strength to make it to and through your way. Amen. Hey, prayers and cheers, everyone. Hi, I'm your Planetary Defense Commander, Star-Lord Nuthor 7. And this video is brought to you by beer. Tonight, specifically, Corona Banquet. For light beer drinkers like me, I will put the Corona Banquet in the official Thor News. It's a good beer when it's cold. Cheers to us all. And what did I do with it? Crap, I lost my can of chili. Because I haven't really eaten much since the news that our president had been infected with the coronavirus. I think the last time I ate anything substantial, it was when Alex of Predator Poachers brought me some pizza. Thank you, Alex. And shout out to Alex at Predator Poachers. He catches predators. And so check out his channel. You gotta have strong fortitude to do that. But Alex is kind of crazy, just like me. And shout out to everyone out there. I'm definitely, thank you, Asteroid Fight Club. First of all, thank you to my mama and to my family, my dad, my stepdad, all my friends, my family, and Asteroid Fight Club. And definitely, specifically, thank you to Teresa. I don't know how to say it properly, so I'm going to try. Dan, thank you. KJ, thank you. Max, thank you. Stephanie, thank you. Marlita, thank you. Lisa, thank you. Daryl, thank you. Brian, thank you. Glenda, thank you. Arnica, thank you. Light Soul, thank you. Scott, thank you. Mikey T, thank you. Alan, thank you. Lynn, oh, thank you. Cody, thank you. Maxwell, thank you. Athena, thank you. Jessica, thank you. Divine, thank you. Andrea, thank you. Heather, thank you. Immortal, thank you. David, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, I don't know why I thanked David twice. Y'all gotta forgive me. Texas Angel, thank you. Thank you and thank you. Barbara. That's a cool, fun name to say. Thank you. I mean, they're all cool, fun names to say. Robert, thank you. Chris, thank you. Christos, thank you. Michael, thank you. Rachel, thank you. Al, thank you. Ghost, thank you. I guess this is better if I say, thank you, Grevin. Shit, I messed it all up. Thank you, Wagon Breath. What I was Yoda-izing and flipping around. Dyslexia, thank you, Dyslexia. Thank you, D-Mur. Thank you, Chaz. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Epiphany. Thank you, Comes in Threes. Thank you, Andrea. And thank you to everyone out there who is cool, awesome, and has helped us keep it together this far. And if you've made anyone laugh in 2020, you are technically an all-star in my book. So cheers, y'all. I'm hanging out with you guys tonight, talking, even though I don't think now is the best time to be online just espousing every opinion and thought you have. Seems like a dangerous time. But hey, guess what? Here I am with you. I mean, it's like I have a bunch of my own opinions, and if I run down 100 of them with you, one of them's going to insult you. It's like almost a guaranteed thing. It's like, okay, here's what happened. When the president tested positive, I locked up with like super severe anxiety because I don't want to lose a president as Planetary Defense Commander. And so my friends Autumn and Obi-Wan Jr. came and got me, and we just walked around Houston for 7.5 miles. Saw a bunch of cool art and stuff. Houston has some of the most amazing artists, and they paint the city all around. And we drank beer on a patio bar, but it was like way in the corner in the back on a patio. And those were good beers. It was nice to drink beers with friends. And then last night, I needed a new electronic pen, so Fitzroy picked me up. We went to the head shop, and I bought 2 of them at $20. Then we went to the Poorhouse, because they have a bar that's on an open like patio where you're not necessarily that near anybody. And then I forgot my credit card there, and so Alex from Predator Poachers was super duper cool enough to take me back, pick it up, and then head back to the apartment. So I am very grateful today. The president's still alive. And just because after me trying to play super awesome defense from February to October, I took a calculated risk to leave the house with friends that I trust and have been taking it seriously. Because if I didn't get out of the house, I was going to go. I mean, I'm already crazy, but like, I don't mean to make this all about me tonight. I'm telling you, the since December run of Planetary Defense Commander till now, it's not been all giggles and unicorns, bro. Yeah. And so as I was out on my journeys, I had to look back. And since, I've been Planetary Defense Commander. And so, look, I'm telling you how I see it. And that I really thought we could unite everyone by 2017. I wasn't like, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. But I felt like we saved the world in 2015, and I even made a thing about like whether we save the world or not, it'll happen in 2015. Then we choose our future. So I thought we were ready to unite in 2017. And then from that point on, we didn't. And then I fully felt that the universe was going to force us. It was going to force us into total war. It was going to force us into total peace and unity in 2020. And so my plans has basically been like to 2017, and then my job was to get us ready for 2020 and as prepared as possible. And so whereas you can kind of figure out some of the micro data on what may or may not happen next, I don't think overall anybody knows exactly what the world is going to look like 1 year from now. That makes sense? And so Saturday Night Live went through a bunch of precautions, and they did their first Saturday Night Live show last night. And Chris Rock was the host, and I thought he did a great job. And one thing he says, hey, we don't have a plan. 2, we need a plan. I mean, that's as clear as day. The old system is just not working. And Colin Jost and Michael Che specifically on SNL Weekend Update, Che made a reference to, the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas future. And at this point, all I've watched was the Chris Rock's monologue and Weekend Update. So I will try and check everything out later. I'm old enough to remember when Saturday Night Live could do cold openings that weren't about politicians. I'm that old, baby. Although I super duper absolutely love Saturday Night Live. Always have, always will. And so I've been locked up with anxiety until like today, worrying that we could lose the president. And technically, like I've tried to explain to you guys, how it usually works is around some point like day 3 to 5. I mean, you get on day 1, you're like, hey, I think something is wrong with my body. I might be sick. And then by day 3 or 5, you have the chest pains, the hard time breathing, the weird cough that hurts. And that's day 3 through 5. And then day 6, you're like, I feel great. And then day 7 through 10 are the toughest. And so if you haven't made it through, if you survive day 3 through 5, then your big battle is with days 7 through 10. If I understand all the data that I've been looking at all fucking year long. And so today, everybody's on a kick of yeah, he survived it. Yeah, he's over it. Whereas I don't know exactly when he tested positive or when he got it, so it's hard to pinpoint the timeline exactly if that's what you're trying to do. But as long as, I've been so stressed out about this for months, and then when he got it, I've been super stressed. People are like, don't be stressed. I'm like, okay, great. And so right now it was like, okay, he survived, he's over it. And I'm like, well, data would suggest we don't know where he's at, but technically he's got the 3 hardest days still coming up. And the information coming out about, the reports seem to suggest he's taken he's taking steroids, remdesivir, and and so, but everybody's kind of going with he's definitely surviving it. So I don't want him to die. So for now, I'm going to sit in this energy with everybody. Because no, I don't want him to die. I don't want anybody to die. What I want is people to work together. And I'm kind of tired of talking about it. I've been talking about it I think I've been talking about it for at least 20 years minimum, probably 25. I'm like, hey, dude, it'd be great. World peace. Everybody working together. And then there's always someone like, well, someone might sell out 7 billion people to the aliens. And I'm like, well, let's try and prevent that. And here we are. But I definitely am not giving up hope. And I definitely am appreciative that I got to hang out with friends again. They're still one of my favorite thing of the planet is people that you just enjoy being around. Like somehow your energy fields are okay. And I'm grateful I have beer and electricity. And that when I decide to eat again, I will eat. And it was pretty cool to be able to, after sitting in this foxhole pretty much 99% of the time since February, to know that if I had to, I could walk 7.5 miles. But I'm really out of shape. Man, I really, 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 really love walking around a big city, whether it be Houston or Dallas or Austin. I even like towns and smaller cities. But I'm saying that, like, I don't know the things that you guys think are cool in life, but if you walk around a live functioning city, the architecture is always just incredibly spectacular. Like if your mind can visualize what it took to envision a building and then design a building and then have the team build the building and then have the building there and working, like a singular building is, whether it be a house to a skyscraper, is a super impressive thing. And so cities are always like these giant works of art. And we're talking about works of art that they had to work a pretty long time on to build this singular work of art, which is functional and infrastructure. And then the city, especially Houston's a big mural city. We have tons of great artists and painters here. They paint all the electric boxes here. So Houston definitely embraces its artistic vibe as much as any city out there, though Houston's not as loud about it. And so just walking around the city and looking at like all the artwork, and then, so the fun thing was, okay, I had this crazy idea. I don't know if I told y'all about it, but for like 8 hours, there was a part of me that was like, fuck it. Well, me, Autumn, and Obi-Wan Jr., because Obi-Wan plays guitar and sings. So here's what we'll do. We will rent a skyscraper hotel when I thought a hurricane might hit Houston. And so we will drink a lot and then play rock and roll up until the hurricane hits. And then I would try to videotape the hurricane live. And then we would try to survive, right? That was my 8-hour plan for like, fuck it. What do I really want to do? When I thought I was going to hit Houston, that was what I like. For 8 hours, part of me was like, all right, this is what I want to do. Even though it wasn't sensical, but it was fun to daydream for those 8 hours if that was a break from working on hurricane season. And I would have done it, because I still think, though I would have put myself in danger, I could have been smart enough to survive. Anywho, that didn't happen. But for the 8 hours that I was serious about, it would only cost like $250 to stay in a nice hotel room for 2 nights, and then I could give like Thor News, live videos, and production value. It would just be fun and interesting and a good way to get out of the foxhole. Anywho, so I looked up pools near the roof, and one of the hotels I looked at was the Texas Marriott Marquis. Like, I would guess 20 stories up, maybe 30. They have a giant pool shaped like Texas, and then a giant bar or bars around that giant pool that are like halfway up. And so it was one of the places I scouted to stay at to watch the storm come in. And so as we were running in the city up and down, we went down looking for the secret tunnels of Houston, although I guess they're not that secret. That was weird though. But we went to the building, and so I got to see the pool from up, we saw from like maybe 10, 15 stories overhead. It's a cool pool. I definitely want to go there someday and maybe play some type of a show, rock and roll show. or have maybe a Thor News night in 2022. Anywho, and then I was like, look, with any building in any city, if you're just like being cool and being a kid at heart, you can like kind of run around and go to the top of skyscrapers, or you can go like, sometimes you have like a free pass to get to the top of the skyscraper or get into the bars, even if you're not staying at the hotel. And so we tried to get in to the pool area, bar area, but they would not let us in because we did not have a wristband. And wristbands were $60. Like if you're not staying at the hotel, then to get to the bar to drink one beer, you gotta have a wristband. And if you don't have a wristband to get to that one beer, you gotta pay $60. Well, I didn't need to do that. So we went to Little Woodrow's. Anyway. So I thought it was cool that a month ago when we were playing, I was playing like, all right, so I got to go like up and see the pool and hang out in that building for a minute. That was super fun, man. I guess what I'm trying to say is, one of my favorite things is just walk around the city. And if you can ever have one, a year ago, my cousin Michael was with me. We had a blast. And you can sing or talk as loud as you want in a city. Like if you can belt Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire as loud as possible in a loud city, and people just think, it's a city. Like if you do it well enough, no cops can be like, hey man, will you please stop singing Johnny Cash? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, so cheers and thank you to everybody. I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen next. Man, so I've been eating pizza like every other day at the pizza place next door because it's like $6. Or I've been buying these gas food sandwiches from Valero. They're like $3, like tuna fish salad, chicken salad. That has been my shitty fucking diet since like February. And so I was like, I'll go to the Valero. And then I went to the Valero to get beer and 3 sandwiches because I hadn't eaten. And then like a bunch of people were there without wearing masks. And then like more came in. And so I just left. And this takes me back to the 2015 dream where I was like trying to build a brand new city in Texas, probably in West Texas. But that like, one of the things was like, hey, are you cool? Are you funny? Are you creative? Are you talented? Like, wouldn't it be great to build a city for cool people who do not need to talk about politics every day, who do not need politics really at all, who do not need to hate people, like just a city where you can go and be cool. And that, like, it is an overriding theme. And if you built the city together, everyone would have a magical piece in it. And we'll have put in some sweat equity. That was my 2014, 2015, like, hey, y'all, let us do that. And so you're welcome to have your own opinion on the virus. Absolutely. It's America. It still is. We still have a president. We still have an election. It's still functioning like it has been mostly. But I'm just saying it would be so great to be able to go places where like I just knew that like for me, wearing a mask over the next 3 months is not that big a deal, like at all. And to me, part of me thinks it's kind of fun. Like I get into a different character whenever I put the mask on, and it allows me to super enunciate in ways that are quite fun for me. So I can go anywhere, and I'm forced to communicate louder, clearer. And so I always run with that, And so it's like if you're inside in a closed space or you're around a stranger, wear a mask. If you're around people you trust, then you can take the chance of not wearing a mask. Like in an open space. And so I just wish we had places, like we built something like that to where, okay, where all the cool people could go to, the people who do not want to fight all the time, the people who do not feel that super burdened by doing small teamworky things. You know, it's like, okay, we basically agree, like, no cannibalism, no baby fucking, no rape, no murder. Those are 4 prime things of, like, we can all agree that, like, all that shit is bad and not good for a civilization. And then the overriding premise is like, be cool and try and get better every day. And Johnny Appleseed was one of the coolest human beings ever. Like, if you were a guy and you had a legacy of, like, who are the coolest people, who had some amazing legacies that I like? Well, for me, Jesus Christ is definitely one of them. And Johnny Appleseed. And no, for my fellow Christians who like to get agitated by people's words that involve Christianity all the time, I'm not saying Johnny Appleseed is better than Jesus. But I'm saying Johnny Appleseed is awesome. That thinking back on, like, the legacy a man or woman can have, like, what did you do? And at the end, that made not only the world around you a better place, but the world looking forward a better place. Johnny Appleseed was awesome, dude. You know? So another big worry we have here is the whole food crisis. I think both parties agree that if we don't get our acts in gear, we're going to have food crises unlike we've ever seen in the future. So it was nice to kind of step away from the Matrix for 2 days. At least get a little bit of a break from focusing on 2020 and look into the future. So cheers to the future, y'all. May we all find better days. And one crazy thing was, so in one of the buildings, skyscrapers we were in one of the levels in the middle, they had this giant, almost like this LED ball, except it was like paper mache. It was beige and it looked just like Pluto. It was hanging up. And then behind Pluto, it said, "Make it fun." So because Pluto was stationing direct, about to go direct after being retrograde for 6 months, on days like that, I look for the overall planetary message. That, like, from my observations on the days of the planets, when they go from backwards to forwards from Earth's perspective, or from their perspective, there's always like some type of sign or like theme. And so that was pretty cool. Although it's quite a challenge. Like, let's say I hired you. It is your job to now make the future fun for the rest of the people on the planet for the next 5 years, what would you do? And we know how to have fun. We know how to work together. We know how to let people take turns talking at the table. And I still think one of the civilization things is we should agree to feed everybody every day. Like, what kind of a civilization are we that we don't feed everyone every day? As far as I know, out of 7 billion of y'all, none of you asked to be here. It wasn't like a bus ride where like you signed up and then you were born on Earth. And just like God provides for the birds and the fishes, we being the children of God, I think the natural step in evolution for a planet is the planet to agree that, like, all right, we should feed everybody every day. And no, I mean, I'm not saying everybody gets steak and lobster Monday through Sunday with key lime pie and lemon meringue and chocolate silk with a scoop of ice cream. But I'm saying you can give people the basics every day. I mean, even like 3 square peanut butter and jellies. Although we were, I don't know. It seems like I was trying to explain this last night. Because I'm figuring it out. It helps me work through it. That like from so rock and roll, boom, came on the scene. So you had like 55,000 years of civilization, right? And then it took the last 50 years of civilization. We've only had rock and roll for like 50 years. That's a big deal, people. Why do you think that they shut it down in like 2000? Because it's such a huge deal. Rock and roll, it's like magic. And so that like 1980 to the year 2000 kind of showed humanity, if you were in that zone, you saw the promise of peace. You saw the promise of a future. You saw the promise of people working together, not divided by race, religion, creed, national lines, sexuality. It just seemed like the very natural step in evolution. And that they literally needed 20 years of social media where they just took your phone and your TV and your radio and shoved it into your phone. But it's the same quote unquote propaganda for what to believe. But it was kind of like, but it was the digital age that like the digital world was here. It's like analog digital, 3D to 5D to 7D. And to the E's and the F's and the T's and so just like Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter are in Capricorn. Capricorn's kind of like the old system. So Capricorn is kind of like the Omega, which is the end. And then Aquarius is like the Alpha, which is the beginning. And so that we got like the power, it's like so we saw the promise of the future, a peaceful future. And then for the last 20 years, we've been going through like a digital crash course on what technology is and what technology can do. That like Jupiter and Saturn conjunct on top of each other every 20 years. And there have definitely been major changes from the 80s to the year 2000 to the year 2020. So 1980 to the year 2000 was like a taste of the Renaissance. And then 1999 till now has been like humanity battling for the future and its soul in this test that is life with an unforeseen digital component. I mean, I knew they knew about it like 25 years ago and shit, but like technology always has surprises to the people who invented it. And it has been my belief. I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus is my King of Kings. You guys need to stop getting hung up on words. But that, like, kind of like my belief has been that, like, Biden is not my king. Trump is not my king. And that December 21st, 2020, my king shall return. And my king is rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? And so there's been a weird optimistic air, as Fitzroy pointed out. The fall seasons are always more optimistic than the summer seasons. But it definitely feels like a lot of people want to kill me sometimes. And so I'm still grateful with large doses of paranoia, and cheers to everybody. And weird, since 1950, since the end of World War II, I would guess the most famous people, top three, have been Elvis Presley, Michael Jordan, and Donald J. Trump. You guys ever seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Now, I've been making videos and little films since I was like 7. So I've always been in love with the digital storytelling medium. And so as a kid, that tripped me out because I've always wanted to make movies. Like, before I made videos, I never even thought about making videos. I only tried to write like the greatest screenplays of all times that would eventually be feature films. And so I was only figuring out like how to, although I did a lot of work, production on videos, but my main focus was writing movies because I wanted to make like the greatest movie you guys have ever seen. I wanted to make a movie where at least like a couple million people are like, when they walk out of the theater, like, oh my God, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen. And one of the reasons is because like many people have done that for me. And so I want to do that for y'all. You know, that like when I was growing up, a lot of people gave me Star Wars, the good ones, and then Indiana Jones. Like, I can't even tell y'all what it was like to grow up as a teenager in the 80s. Although I turned 18 in 90, but I'm just saying that like they created all these great heroes that were likable and were loyal to each other and fought for bigger causes than themselves. Karate Kid. And they did drink the Coors Banquet on the Karate Kid. That may be another reason. Oh yeah, but look, you know, and so if you're just joining us, please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Like, it's still October. And as I've been discussing the Jupiter Saturn, the strange thing is that, like, the Jupiter Saturn conjunction is not really that rare. It happens every 20 years. But the things to me, and I could be, the fact that Pluto is there and it's happening in Capricorn, that part of the solar system around us, the exterior solar system, the galaxy. I mean, we've discussed supposedly our solar system goes around the galaxy, just like the planets go around the sun. Our solar system goes around the galaxy. Man, I forget. Is it 22,000 years? Is it 22 million years? 2,200 million years? I forget. And light year math is always sketchy to me anyways. Anyway, what's it saying? Oh, and so what I'm saying is that, so if you understand that just like the planets are doing and rotating around in their parts of the solar system, that like our whole solar system does that as well. And so over the years, I've had enough conversations with people that worked at NASA in person, some over beers, where there were a lot of conversations about interstellar medium. Some of my favorite, most fascinating conversations are about interstellar medium, that which makes up the space above us. And so, and remember, like, if you think about it, the whole universe is exploding at the same time and moving and like flowing like waves. And so even that interstellar medium over there is changing when we're over here. So everything is always in a constant state of change and evolution. I mean, there are rumors of decay, but I've yet to see it. I mean, on an exponential level, that, I was trying to say, I'm trying to say that, like, so the fact that just as the planets go around the constellations, like even those part in the asteroid belt and all the energies, the planets are kind of going through different towns. Just like cities and towns in America, the planets are going through different towns. And so I think one of the big difference makers is Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter in Capricorn, and that part of the sky. And I tried to do the math, and if I did it correctly, they haven't been in that place for 80,000 years. That's a lot of evolution, man. And so, but something about it, whether it be the moon, I don't know what it is, but it definitely seems like the pressure systems we are watching in the ocean with Delta and Gamma, just like with the two hurricanes. We have so many hurricanes, I forgot all their names. But there were two that hit. The one that hit Louisiana, the other tropical storm crossed into Florida. And then there were the typhoons that hit South Korea, where they basically crossed their paths and then had the same landfall. And so we are kind of watching both, see if that pressure system pattern continues. And so we have watched Gamma has now gone down into the Yucatan Peninsula, and everybody's like, oh, it's just going to hit Mexico and it's done. But today they're like, oh, hey, guess what? No, it's probably going to hit the Yucatan Peninsula, and then it's going to go north, and then it's just going to die in the middle of the Gulf. Like, what? Or it's going to be reabsorbed through the Fujiwara effect. But either way, I was like, hey, guys, right around now, the 7th through the 11th, like as those hurricanes were hitting, like, hey, let's watch out exactly. Let's see if this shit happens again. And so it's happening again. And so it seems like there are very basic, simple connections. Like it would be great if everybody could be paying attention. Like, hey, let's all watch fucking together and see if somehow not only are the planets sending messages in the heavens above, in the firmament, but they're doing it in our atmosphere as well. Like as above, so below. And so the real big show during 2020 is the sky. And I didn't get to see it, but we had a comet come in that was the most impressive comet since I've been here. And so the real show is happening in the sky. And that, yeah, dude. I think Jesus was Sagittarius. And that Jesus, Jupiter, and Saturn, there's probably a connection there. But there's a cool connection. But I got people being like, hey, man. Yeah, my Jesus is cool, dude. Everybody's got their own personal version of God, their own personal version of how the universe works. But I think we're all God's children. And I think that as long as you have a good, loving, forgiving heart and end up with a good relationship with God, the Creator, the divine architect, you probably get a good place in heaven. Although heaven is probably a lot like life, where there are ups and there are downs, and it changes every day and it's something different. Who knows? Maybe we all just get sent to the center of the sun. And like, if your spirit is made of one element, you're like, hey, this feels great. And if your spirit is made of another element, you're like, oh my God, this is so hot and burny. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know. Shout out to John F. Kennedy Jr. Man, hopefully my hackers are now back to like not letting me open my editing program. And so I really need to play that speech of John F. Kennedy Jr. when he was at Rice University. Because he talked about how much the human spaceflight program had done in a very short amount of time. In less than a decade, humans put up a bunch of satellites, went to the moon, like had rockets that like we went to Venus, we went to Mercury, we went to like Jupiter, we went to Saturn. And that we had done this in like a very short window. And that there were people who wanted that it was a breathtaking pace of like watching technology unfold. And he basically said, either the people will control their own future through space by everyone taking part in space, or the people who do not represent the people would take control of it. And like I said, so it's like a weird Guardians of the Galaxy Thor, Marvel DC thing that like if alien ships showed up and we're like, hey, will you sell us all 7 billion people as appetizers? A, I don't think they have to ask, but B, because they could just show up and do it anyways. But it definitely feels like there has been somebody who's been selling out humanity, not necessarily one person, but just like humanity's entire future. And whether there was a perceived endpoint to that, but yeah, there definitely seems like there have been forces that are selling out humanity's entire future. That as Planetary Defense Commander, the animals are the canary in the coal mine. Where before digital technology, we were ruled by the pirates, the witches, and the charmers. And there was an underlying sense of family and future. And that, in the last 20 years, the overriding narrative has been there is no future. And so there may have been pirates, there may have been witches, and there may have been charmers. We're like, all right, if there's no future, then but that the charmers, the farmers, the witches, and the pirates knew you got to take care of the animals and you got to take care of Mother Nature, the trees and the water. Like, you are fucking nothing without trees and water. Like, you can't do shit without trees and water. Hey, guy, guess what? Take care of the fucking trees and water. It's the Garden of Eden. We need more Johnny Appleseeds. That's not directed at anyone particularly. I'm just saying that, like, if 65% of the animals that were projected to still be alive here under any type of normal ecosystem, 65% of those animals and their species have been wiped out, like, that is weird. Like, that is a tipping point to where we go to peace or we go to war. And it's not really war, it's money. So that, like, money would be a trigger effect of war, meaning that no one really wins through war. And so the only way we would really get to war is through economics, meaning like money and whatever money system controls us. And so the only real ways of money and power and control system can't be figured out by the 7 billion people or the like 60 power groups that are on Earth. That like Johnny takes his ball to go home, except Johnny takes his ball to go home is like ripping off the atmosphere like this were planet Mars. And there was no more blue sky. And apparently there's not a whole lot of water. And I would guess Mars has more cactuses than they show us. I would definitely guess there's definitely some type of life on Mars. Mars was beautiful last night. Did you see it? Okay, so we were out on the patio at a bar. And for like 40 minutes, I got super paranoid out of nowhere. And then, like, I turned around after a while, and right behind me was the giant moon, and it was green. And then Mars was above it, and Mars was like beautiful tangerine orange red. And then over on the, like, so here's Mars and the moon here, and over here is Jupiter and Saturn. And here I am on a patio having a discussion with other beer drinkers there about outlaw country, like the Highwayman, under what felt like a very Christmassy moon and Mars. Like I was not prepared for Mars and the moon to put on such a Charlie Brown pumpkin show. And from our perspective, it definitely seems like the sky has like layers, you know. So like there's layer what A, and if you're thinking up, it goes like layer B. And so, from our perspective, they're always like the peak of the sky, and then like the and so it was just cool to see them basically on the same shelf, on this, like they were standing on the same sky ground or whatever you want to call it. And there was a beautiful lady there that looked like Selena Gomez, kinda, but she did not walk up and talk to me. And I got to drink some hooch, made some from fantastic, delicious apples and cinnamon. It was delicious. And there was another lady there that night who I think was a great dancer. But I don't know, I didn't get to see her dance. But I just mean like, body of a gymnast dancer. Gymnast dancers are different things. It's like superhero movies. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, I don't even know. I'm trying to stay super optimistic because everybody's super optimistic that we have avoided at least one worst case scenario. I'm not sure we have, and I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen next. But I have been in a Merry Christmas mood for like a week now since autumn came, right? Let's stop fighting and take care of each other as human beings. And we should definitely figure out a way to give everybody toilet paper and feed everybody every day between now and 2022. I don't think there is a single excuse for why we shouldn't figure out, if we're going to be altering our entire system, that like every person should agree that like let us all figure out in 2020 how we can all donate, even if it's 2 hours. Thank you, Andre. It's your birthday? Oh, wait, what? Happy birthday. Okay, here's the deal. Wagon Breath. We're gonna play this song by the Highwaymen, and then I'm gonna sing Andrea. And I'm gonna drink some water. And then I'm gonna sing Happy Birthday, but I'd like to play the song if I can.
I was a highwayman on Along the coach roads I did ride, with sword and pistol by my side. Many a young maid lost her baubles to my trade. Many a soldier shed his lifeblood on my blade. The bastards hung me in the spring of 25, but I am still alive. I was a sailor, I was born upon the tide. With the sea I did abide. I sailed a schooner around the Horn of Mexico. I went aloft to the world and made some men afloat. And when the yards broke off, they said that I got killed. But I'm living still. I was a dam builder across a river deep and wide, where steel and water did collide. A place called Boulder on the wild Colorado. I slipped and fell into the wet concrete below. They buried me in that tomb that knows no sound. But I am still around. I'll always be around. And around, and around, and around, around. I'll fly a starship across the universe divide. And when I reach the other side, I'll find a place to rest my spirit if I can. Perhaps I may become a highwayman again. Or I may simply be a single drop of rain. But I will remain. I'll be back again and again and again and again and again.
Okay, so that was like 1980 for me, I guess. And then it was like 2000.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. A little word chance to preach for hell, that's a mighty long time. But I'm in
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix and Prince and the Highwaymen are pretty good spirit guides. If you're trying to be a good human or earthling or figure out how to move forward in a post-rock and roll age, oh no, let's go. Let's go crazy. Hey girl, let's get a little bit nuts. We're all crazy now. You guys ever been standing in a big room with a bunch of people dancing? You guys ever been in a room full of people dancing? We used to do that shit from like the 80s. It's like 2012. And man, let me tell you this. I always love dancing. And there's and I don't worry about how I look when I'm dancing. So, they took away dancing, rock and roll, the space shuttle, now churches, bars, concerts, movies. By they, I just mean the collective us. Like, in my mind, it is us taking our rights away from ourselves because we have not come up with a better plan. That in a free market system, the individual's rights are going to heavily erode unless the collective recognizes that it needs to represent itself against business. Or else business will sell you out to Mars. No disrespect to Mars, I'm saying. But like, or whatever planet Monolith. Earth and the sun and the moon and the stars and the planets have been very good to me. My whole life. I have loved them. I love our solar system. And I love our planet Earth. And I'm sorry to blame Eris too much all the time. I mean, not Eris, but Mars. And it does feel like a flashing sign in the sky in our lives. Peace or war. And that the thing I think would trip us into war is money. And so, as I stated or what happened in 2008, you had your Federal Reserve System from 1913 on. U.S. Treasury bonds, James bonds. So from 1913 to 2008, you had an economic system that was in place and got pretty much all families moving forward from 1915 to now under this system, which may or may not have been some type of New World Order. If you like bumper sticker shit like that. And so we went from a Keynesian Adam Smith economy to what I looked at as, it felt like, a beast and dragon economy. And the stock markets are the dragons. Without disrespect to anyone, anywhere, the whole idea that you have 200 currencies and the whole FX trading has, definitely in a post 2012 period, making currencies, all the currencies go up and down. I'm gonna sing to Andrea. I'm trying to get into the happy birthday. Like, okay, then I'll. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Andrea. Happy birthday to you. May all your cakes and candles be good tonight and always. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. How old do you feel? And if that wasn't okay, then when I cheer up, I will sing it again. That in all the news in 2020, there have been many groups that have said, hey, let's agree to peace deals. It's happened in multiple continents. Like Earth is kind of like 100,000 gangs. And I would still guess there's free will and choices. And so I guess cheers and shout out that, like, thank you to Cool Cats and Kittens. Cheers and shout out to all y'all. And I guess I should be celebrating Andrea's birthday, October the 4th, which makes you a Scorpio? Wait, no. Is it a Libra? Why am I so bad at Googling? Anyway, happy birthday. Oh, but like me and Chris Rock are the two people that were like, hey, y'all, we need a plan. Like this election is pretty much the Fire Festival. I don't know if you guys watched that documentary, but it talked about how like they were promising some super music festival in the middle of all these islands. And that so the parties happened and the planning happened, but the festival did happen, but it did not go well at all. And so here we are a month away, and the election is like the Fire Festival, but different. And that this energy is much like the 1770s American energy. And so you got to get people to agree to basic human rights for each other. In a civil fashion. Which I think is the easy part. It's 100 monkeys. If you finally give the coolest and best people on the planet a platform to be awesome and well together, they can show everybody how to get back to the mid-90s really fast. Before they kill Cobain. We still had a space shuttle. My dad and my stepdad were both in the Air Force. And so my dad liked to drive Corvettes. My stepdad liked to drive trucks. And so they were like, to me, combining Corvette and a space shuttle, like to be riding around to ride on a horse and snow ski in a mountain, and then be in a moving vehicle, a car or a motorcycle. My dad took me motorcycle riding, or I learned how to ride as a young kid. And then to see the space shuttle and see that, hey, somehow this thing that can get to upper Earth orbit is just like a truck. It's like you can do it. At some point, you can make space shuttling as safe, if not safer, than airlines. And one of the fact that we can fly so many planes across so many continents and have so few casualties, you have more people killing each other on the highways from not using their blinker or road rage than you do with plane crashes every day. Like, it's one of the times at Thor News when I try to push, like, the best way to try and save everybody every day is if you're all out there driving, everybody just be cool. You know, that like, be a better driver. That helps humanity. Anyway, what was it talking about? I don't know. But they're like, yeah, let's all be better drivers. Like, challenge. Let's feed everybody. Let's all be better. Anyway, what was it talking about? But I'm just saying that. So as growing up, they're like, yeah, everybody was taught that like natural evolution, like space was technology was gonna continue forward, where the people had some say in what the future would be. That you didn't have 10 people floating 500 miles away from Earth making all the rules. Maritime laws. Above them, so below. Neptune and space. Space is air. You know, I would guess. I mean, there are definitely Earth components in space. What's it talking about? Plus gases and plasmas. And so, like, whatever the future is, we got to do it together. So make it fun. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that fucking hard? Asterisk. And then I see Saturn is part of Christmas, and that even whether, you know, it's like Jesus, the Christ, spirit, and consciousness, the energy, like the Charlie Brown, that, like, regardless of whatever he believes out there, I love Christmas, and that in my life, in the 50 years or 48 years I've been on Earth, like, there is a Christmas spirit that some people were born naturally to just have, that where they knew how to be in a good mood and get shit done, get family together to cook big meals, and that the Christmas spirit is a real power and thing, regardless of if you're a Christian or not. Like, it's a, that, like, regardless of everything we've ever taught, that somehow the natural spirit has been for the family, the people to get together or take a couple of days off right at winter, the Sagittarius period, and appreciate, like, everything. And that there were men and women, and, like, so much came for us to be able to be here now together. Like when they crucified Jesus, he was like, you just wait. I hope I ain't dead. You know what I'm saying? Things will get better. So it's like a festival of colorful lights. And it does feel like in this 2000 to 2020 transition that Saturn's black cube has learned all the colors in the rainbow. And since I've been following astronomy at Thor News and just in life, it seems like Saturn and Jupiter have been having a lot of moon babies. Like, if we're looking at the data correctly and understanding, look, we've had these optics for cameras definitely since the 70s. So, and they mentioned a couple times that, like, Jupiter and Saturn are spitting out moons. It's kind of like part of the whole sun baby thing that science, it continues to tell us, oh, galaxies just collapse, stars, dust. And I think it's different than that. Where, like, the sun giving birth to planets and planets giving birth to moons and other planets. That seems to make sense in a weird kind of planet fashion. In a mother-father birth, life, death, cycle, main sequence, heroic journey. It seems to make sense. And so, you know, with the sun, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's going to do next. I know that she's, like, totally magic. Or he, however you want to genderize the sun. Like, I don't know what the sun's going to do next. We're watching some crazy shit happening everywhere. So it's like the sun's been having babies. Do they get shot out like comets? I don't even know. Because some baby just disappear or kind of shows up maybe sometimes. And then with Jupiter, oh, and so last night I could see Mars's moons with my eyes. And how weird is it that at some point the collective of humanity deciding words, they say it was the Greeks that were like, we're going to name Mars's moons Phobos and Deimos, fear and terror. You know, that's just... So that like when Mars is around, it's always like, hey man, look, Mars back with fear and terror. And Earth is supposedly Terra. 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 I don't know how you say it. Terra. It sounds a lot like terror. It's terra. Terror. You know? Language is a whole crazy thing. You know? It's like languages and currencies. So I'm trying to figure out a way to talk about peace from here to Christmas and the end of the year without rattling everybody's cages. I want a Baby Yoda. Peace on Earth, Merry Christmas 2020. Asteroid Fight Club style. And I think the Rock and Roll Lions Gates are going to be opened around December 21st. And that, so we have every reason to celebrate our holiday season. And I don't know how y'all look at Halloween, but it's like the one day in Americana where they're like, all right, for as hard as you worked, for all you learned, for everything you did, you get one day of the year where it's like, if you weren't you, who would you be? Who do you want to come in as on the one day you're just like, you get to be anybody today. So yeah, there's a lot of dumb story. Like I don't, whatever negativity. I don't. For me, that's what Halloween always is. That like, you pick one day of the year and you're like, you could be anybody, and everybody's okay with it. And it's weird. I look back and there's this picture of me and my mom and Aunt Nisi. And I'm like, I don't know, I was maybe 5. I'm wearing a Casper the Friendly Ghost mask. And I don't know. I hope I didn't pick that shit out. Because as I grew up, it was more like Wolverine, Neo, the Dread Pirate Roberts, Satori Ray Jones. So I don't know who the fuck would want to be Casper the Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Like if anything, I'm picking a costume on that day that fends off ghosts. Like shit, if there's gonna be a bunch of ghosts and demons and undead around, I should pick a costume that helps me stay half foot in the spirit world and then half foot in reality. Spider-Man. I remember dressing up as Spider-Man as a kid. Spider-Man is cool. So yeah. And I have this weird idea visually of like if Billie Eilish were dressed up like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, like that type of exact character with the black leather and the glasses and the gun. And then Ariana Grande were dressed up like Blade Runner 7, artificial intelligence with the Spielberg Gigolo Joe shit. And then you made like a 3-song video thing to it, and the third song was rock and roll. That would be awesome. And so just as I'm all in on this holiday season, I know that October is going to be spooky. That Pluto, that it was like some of us became the knowledge getters that would then pass on what we learned to you guys, and then we would figure out a way to do it in ways that didn't freak people out, I guess. And so the whole post 2006 learning about planet Eris, and then they demoted Pluto. We've been in a 2006 world where we're not in Kansas anymore as a solar system, that like it's time to start learning about the next band of the solar system, which is probably a binary system and a star field, which is more than just two, but there's like multiple galaxy shit happening here. But it seems like overriding waves and energy. Like we have yet to have some spaceship show up, like zap in and then like steal the Eiffel Tower and then zap out and leave. We've not seen that happen yet. We have not encountered many extraterrestrial beings that can show up, remove large portions of infrastructure off of our planet, and then take it away in one piece and zap out in under a day. We aren't to those guys yet. Or they aren't to us. Asterisk. Now I'm just talking like a dumbass. Merry Christmas. Thank you. And so Pluto is like Ghost of Christmas Past. And Pluto's Hades. That's why I've been talking about this period. I'm talking about September 27th through the 10th or 11th. All year. We're going to go back to Pluto. Hey, Pluto, what's up? Let me tell you what I've learned the last 6 months. And this Pluto party won't last forever. This Capricorn-Pluto planet situation that we've been in for like 3 to 5 years. You can go back to 2008, 2000. Doesn't matter where you're looking at the Pluto cycle. So Pluto-Neptune thing. that if you've been focused on all the details of the whole year, and we're like, we were going back to Hades for one last high five. We gotta hug the people stuck in hell. Persephone. If you guys followed the Persephone story, where Persephone has to spend like half the year in Hades, and then the other half above ground, and so that's the part of the seasons change. That like even in Norse mythology, there's a Hades, like there's a, in the 7 layers, there's a Hades type that, but it's always like a society as well. I don't know, what was it talking about? Oh yeah, and Pluto's also wealth. And so like Pluto's, it's still like the Pluto, the Eris, the layers of our solar system we had been unaware of. We just find out that they're here, and not only they're here, we've been in the car with them for like 5 years, 8 years, 12 years. So yeah, teach people to plant trees and grow apples and nuts. That Americans have had this weird thing with landscaping, a front lawn and mowing the lawn, and that was almost like training for us for the future. That like once we get past the post-industrial age and have to clean up all the trash we've left around for the last 120 years, that 99.9% of the cases, no matter who you are, you have to put in some effort to feed yourself. And so in the giant age of Aquarius burst, where man has to reconnect with his analog roots, that we all become growers. That like you can terraform the planet and have super fun and do it in super cool, amazing ways. Like there are so many things we can do with the future and what we can create, and what we can build, and then how it can all work together. So yeah, I even wrote a movie about, you know, building a city in the future back in the day. 2001, I think, is when I wrote it. It's called An American Prayer. And one guy, Alex, inherited 33% of all the land in the world, or in America. So they built a city. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to try and stay in the Christmas spirit. But I love hanging out with you. And I still got shit to say. Like, for example, as your planetary defense commander, from the knowledge I've looked at, protesting is just not wise during a year that everyone is so emotionally unstable and you have a pandemic going on. That we should be putting that energy into keeping people in their houses and keeping them fed and keeping their lights on. From the top to the bottom. I don't know. I mean, I know that.
This is a Thor News presentation. Thor News presents Hello, Angel. You know
1 minute, please.
I'll be there when you need me.
Alright, let's take it from the top again. Places. Action.
Here we go. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. It's a beautiful sight. We are happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away, it's the bluebird. Here to stay is a new bird, to sing a love song while we stroll along, walking in a winter wonderland. Later on, we'll conspire as
Merry Christmas, y'all.
by the fire.
You guys did a good job and stay cool September.
The plans that we've made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman. We can pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? I'll say, no ma'am. But you can do the job when
You're breathtaking.
Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we've made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman. We'll pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you ready? We'll say, no ma'am. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on,
by the fire, we shall conspire to face unafraid the plans that we've made, walking in a winter wonderland. To face unafraid the plans that we've made, walking in a winter wonderland, walking in a winter wonderland. Okay, I gotta get another beer.
Stay cool. This is a
You're welcome to
News
join me.
presentation.
Although I may
Thor News
just
presents-
sit here and not say anything. Those odds are probably pretty low though. What is this trick that keeps dragging mankind down? You teach me, I teach you, and we learn again. Because people like us, we're like elements. I'm so glad you're here with me. And I'm grateful for my job. As we sail on to our wildest dreams. So this is me in 2017. Go, hey y'all, the future wants to know. But I think we did good in 2015. So we're not just gonna throw it all in the dirt.
Right, thanks. Enjoy.
There are a lot of good people out there.
Thor News presentation. Thor News present.
I want everyone to have a great Christmas and a great December. You're always there for me. And shit sucked from like 1914 until 1920 ish. And then you had the Roaring 20s. You had World War I, then you had the plague, And then when they got past the World War, they got past the plague, they partied their ass off and invented jazz, or created, mastered, however. And then jazz led to rock and roll. Jazz led to the blues, and the blues led to rock and roll. As Planetary Defense Commander, it's been a crazy year that started at the December, was it solar or lunar eclipse? So we had a Christmas eclipse, and then we had a July 4th eclipse. '2020 is epic on every level. And yeah, it's like 2020 has a real Guardians of the Galaxy aspect to it. But I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know who's going to show up next. I don't know who's going to... But I do believe there are invisible forces that somehow keep the world, like everything we see, the stars, the planets, the sun, the moon, it's kept it all together up until now. And that, like, what percentage of human beings do you think own a pet? Like a cat or a dog? Millions, right? I would guess close to 1 billion. And from what I understand, most people treat their pets really well. And the pets love them, and they love the pets, the animals. And so you have like a human, or humans, a creature like a dog or a cat, although there are other creatures, but like they pretty much choose to hang out with each other. And so there's a phrase that goes around the internet like, we don't deserve dogs, or so it's like, we don't deserve this, or we don't deserve, and we do. Like, cats, dogs, and humans and horses and birds do deserve each other and can coexist in a world together, and will again. So yeah, I'm voting for Mount Olympus in bloom as soon as possible. And Earth is Mount Olympus. And so October is definitely the Christmas past moment of this action picture that is 2020. Like, I would guess we could have some type of combined Category 5 energy in the Gulf with the 2 storms that are coming our way and the whole earthquake and volcano situation. There's like no real open logical discourse or conversation about natural disasters on an earthquake or volcano level. But still, at the end of the day, the virus seems to be killing a whole lot more people today. And yes, compared to like the people that die of starvation or diarrhea, it is not much. That's why like we seem to be reaching the tipping point of like we're in the negotiations for the future. And that you got to come up with a plan and make it work. But people are tired of hearing me say that. So we're definitely in a we'll see mode. Right? Hey, caramba. And I want everybody to have a great Christmas. And I want everybody to survive. I want our president to live. And yeah, sure, your chances of surviving it definitely seem better if you have 10 doctors and nurses on call that are heavily specialized in treating you. But the treatments they've given him are pretty like super eye-popping. Like what? And they have discussed herd immunity. And so I've been mentally preparing if I do get it all year, you know? And so my whole personal strategy, if I did get it, though I'm gonna try to avoid it, is that like I haven't really gone to the doctor in decades. I don't really like going to doctors and hospitals. And so if I could fight it with a bunch of orange juice and possibly whiskey and survive, great. But if it took me, then it took me. Like if I needed remdesivir and remdesivir and the steroids, like I'd just be like, no man, we'll see what happens. I will do my best. I will get Twinkies because they're recommended from Die Hard and in Zombieland, and then whiskey and orange juice, and see if I could beat it. And if I didn't, then I wasn't meant to be here. You know? But I think that shit tears you up. And that is one of the things that like nobody's discussed much, is that it does damage to you, dude. And it does different damage to different people in different ways. How it affects the individual. This is a different virus than most viruses we've dealt with. And I think I had a version of it in November, and I'm still fighting to get my energy levels back. Like, I liked energy level me way more than before whatever I got in November. And so I look at it like a matter of, from all the research I've done on all the plagues, that they usually go away after about 2 or 3 years, or they weaken. Although if this was bioengineered, then that may be off the table, but at least the strategy for me personally and family and friends has been like, all right, let's do what we can to dodge even the flu or the virus for like the next 2 or 3 flu seasons, like 2 winters. And then eventually this shit will be gone. It's only like winter's coming, but no, the White Walkers are not going to kill all of us. Winter, I mean, unless we totally fuck it up. And for my research, that like, it's just like any bug. Like when you sense you're sick, like you got whatever it was. I don't know if you've ever had a virus before or been sick that like me, there have been multiple times where I was like, oh shit, I think I got the bug, the flu, whatever. I could feel I just got it. Maybe it's after a cough or initial like nose runny too much. And so from the point you start to show physical signs, they get heavy from day 3 to 5. And then they get, there's like a day where you're like, hey, I feel great, I've kicked it. And then there's like day 7 through 10 where it's the big fight. And that it's real. And you get fever dreams, weird, crazy fucking fever dreams. And it's one more thing we gotta deal with. And so facing how to deal with it over the next 2 years as a globe, the people have to represent themselves. Like if we just let the free markets decide how we're gonna handle the virus, we're fucked. And so as Planetary Defense Commander, how to unify the people to solve problems has always been the like post-election, regardless of who wins, or if we have an election, we got problems. The term continuity of government has been spoken of several times in the last week or few days. Continuity of government, where you have to do what they have to do, what they have to establish that government continues. And in our system, government is one of the top blocks of civilization. And that whatever bill they're get like whatever happens with the next up until the next stimulus bill. Like that's I guess that's the thing we're really looking at here. We're not looking at an election. Whatever the next step of the future is small that like what the stimulus bill is going to be to figure out how to deal with rolling lockdowns in the first winter across the globe. Like it's happening in fucking Ireland. It's happening like Israel. It's happening France. Like they're just rolling lockdowns that are happening. And yeah, small businesses are getting fucking crushed. And small businesses have been getting fucking crushed for months. And that somehow there's going to need to be some type of assistance to the people to keep them fed and in their homes. And this is why it's like it feels in part like the Fire Festival. And instead of a steady flow of food, and the lights on, a place to stay that you already had, people are being offered, you know, a piece of cheese and a loaf of bread in a styrofoam container. And a kind of like a scenario of here, 10,000 people are in here, 500 beds. You guys figure it out. I prayed for our president's health twice. I don't want to lose a president under my watch. And I've never been as stressed out, I don't think, as I have been in October. And there's definitely a part of me that is just a man that would love to take the next 3 months, find a girlfriend or girlfriends, and run away for like 3 months and never have to worry. Like, that there are 7 billion people. And that as one man, I've done the best I can to help out now and over the last decade. Where I recognize that I'm just one man with one opinion, but in the opinion, like the of what we as a collective should do in the future, and the future is now. And so I know that there are 7 billion of us, and over the last 40 years, it has been a collective effort that got us here this way now. Like, whatever the election has been and will be in 2020, that ain't been my parade. This was not my big whiz-bang presentation. And I've had very little effect on whatever those two warring groups were going to do over the last 5 years. So with like my Thor News anniversary in November 23rd, now the fact that like we're in October and it's very Guardians of the Galaxy, but with a Halloween thing of like which demons and devils and are gonna show up after we just went past the mouth of Hades. Although the sign last night was great with the moon green, Mars red, and maybe I'm being impatient because I have not seen those positive signs manifest in reality life. And technically, I think I'm here with you, avoiding the Matrix. So thank you for that. Because what is it now? October 4th, 5th? And I've been talking about the October 7th period, I don't know, for months. Even on a hurricane basis of like the weather from the 7th through the 23rd is Eris level shit. And so Cat 5 hurricanes possible. Giant fucking windstorms across the globe, totally possible. This is on top of like the craziest wildfire season we've seen that started in Australia, where you had like 300 fires pop up, and then it moved over to the Arctic, and then it moved to the West Coast USA, and it keeps getting stronger. So I don't know what's happening next. But I do feel like that I have done a lot of work over the last year and 10 months to get us ready for this specific time. And I spend a lot of time confused. Like, what is going on? What is everybody doing? Why are they doing that? What were their options? What the fuck? Are you serious? And I don't want the president to die. But which part of his infection and his day that he's on it is he on? We don't know. So the next 72 hours are going to be super pivotal. And that the closest Mars will be to Earth, if I have my information correct, will be on the 6th. And that from here through the rest of the year, we are in the planet parade. I mean, did you guys see the moon and Mars last night? That was some super spectacular 5D shit. And I could see Mars' moons. I don't know how good you are at seeing things. And definitely drinking beer in the hooch probably helped. So I guess they were saying Merry Christmas, but I still haven't snapped out of it. Bob Gibson died. Pitcher. A lot of people have died this year, man. And since 2012. And October's always spooky. Have you ever walked through a forest? Forests are cool. Anyway, thank you for being here with me. And this is the first day that I've drank 3 days in a row. I drank on Friday. I drank on Saturday. Today is Sunday. Come closer. Ooh. No. It's like I'm holding your hand on the astral plane. And I do think there's a weird famous to fun level that I just now recognized or realized has been out there, I guess. Where to me, the quality of life from 88 to 99 was pretty great. Comparatively. And so it's, as reality television became the new thing, the quality of life and the quality of fun went down. And Andy Warhol said everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. But I think he was wrong, because social media made everybody famous all the time. And the irony was that now that everyone was famous, the only person everyone talked about was our president, the king of modern fame, Donald Trump. It's been, like I said, if you're just joining us, the fame levels from 50 to now have been Elvis, Michael Jordan, Donald Trump. And so it was everybody got famous and people only focused on one person. And so fame was way up, and then the quality of fun and life went way down. Crazy. And so I'm Generation X, and Generation X is big on teamwork. You ever heard the X-Men? They work together as a team. All right, I'm going to snap out of it. Have you guys checked the news? Have I missed anything major? And one thing that is definitely up, because I've been doing this for a while, and so I will take predictions and guesses. And in 2020, the amount of people that have taken predictions and guesses at stuff is way up comparatively to even like 2015. Like, people weren't as big on speculating on what is going to happen next back then. But now we're in a state where nobody really knows what's going to happen next, or what the world is going to look like a year from now. So, like, everybody's taking guesses all the time. And I still believe December is going to be awesome. That rock and roll is going to return to Earth. So no, the Guardians of the Galaxy will not perish. And that is a good thing. And Groot is a motherfucking tree. A rocket is a raccoon. Or a magic rabbit. Whatever you want to call him. And so I'm asking people to wear a mask in enclosed spaces. And that definitely, while we pull data in on the winter wave, I would recommend people staying aware. And only taking really calculated risks if they can. But I'm so fucking tired of, like, I can't express how tired the fuck I am talking about it. And so if everybody ends up getting it at some point in time, I would definitely like to wait until the third wave and I know way more about it. That does seem like almost, for some people, like a basic litmus test. It's kind of like the PlayStation 5, bro. I used to play video games all the time 2 decades ago. 1995, when PlayStation 1 came out. From like 95 to 99. I played just PlayStation like crazy. And I learned with the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, you don't buy the first wave that comes out because they usually break. The second wave, they've worked out all the bugs and the kinks, and it's better. And I learned that with 2 PlayStations. And so that's kind of been my strategy of whatever the first winter wave is going to be. That I at least want to avoid it. And so that whether it be throwing rallies or protesting, as Planetary Defense Commander, I'm still just trying to understand why people do what they do can drive you crazy. So here we are in February, and October, and I still have to say with honesty and conviction, yeah, dude, I don't fucking understand why anyone would be protesting or throwing a rally. We need a plan and strategy. And so I guess that's just what I should be here doing now, telling you again, like, I just don't understand protesting right now. Why? What good is going to happen? Mob mentality is so bad. You literally become a herd. It's a big group of people. Like, what positive can come from a protest in 2020? And you gotta drive there, you gotta show up, you gotta eat before, like, and I've tried to mention, they've cloaked the numbers. Okay, a lot of people have liked to guess that the numbers are being inflated, and I have guessed the other side the whole time, that the numbers are actually much worse, that they're worse than what they're telling us. I mean, India just reached 100,000 deaths, and that is on top of, the normal average. This is a problem that is grappling every nation. And from all my plague research, it somehow goes away by like the second or third year, or that humans adapt. And it hasn't traveled to every single human being by that point. So it's not the herd immunity that got it there. It's just somewhere, I would guess, in a weird comet sun cycle kind of a fucking thing. And it can be much like a seasonal flu of like, just try not to pass it to other people. It's kind of like, for example, if you were like, get in your face without a mask and have useless conversations, or if we were going to pass this vape pen back and forth, that would definitely give me a chance of getting whatever virus. Like, and so in the whole vaccine discussion, like, I don't know why I would be talking about it. There's no one offering a vaccine, and that technically, no, my strategy would be to avoid the virus and the vaccine for 2 years. And then see what happens. I think Pluto leaves Capricorn in 2022. But I will definitely take calculated risks to leave the house and be amongst people. And if it gets me, I'm going to Lieutenant Dan it. And I've even said multiple times that I would go live while dying or feeling like I'm dying. technically this is me complaining without trying to complain. That October 4th or 5th, there are so many groups, I'm questioning what the fuck was their strategy for the whole year. Like, what were y'all thinking? What did you think October was going to be like? Like, we had our giant pivot points in February. And then June, July. And now we're in October. And it's definitely been like a super duper duper crazy ride. And the goal is to keep it together, because our mothers, our fathers, and all the people who came before us did not let civilization collapse on their watch. So as Asteroid Fight Club and Space Force and Earthlings, our job is to keep civilization from collapsing. And there is no single problem we are facing that we can't overcome. Continuity of government. Like with hurricanes, they are worst case scenario, best case scenario. Like the next 10 days. We made it to 10-4, good buddy, 2020. And that, like, everything we ever lived before now prepared us to understand and deal with it. And as I said at the very beginning of this video, I thought we had a great shot at uniting in 2017. And that 2020 was going to be a challenge either way, united or not united. And so every single day that I've made it a day further into 2020, I'm grateful that I have another day And I am a little surprised that we've made it this far. Like, nobody really wants to admit it, but it takes a lot of teamwork. It takes a lot of teamwork for us to keep it together. Should we keep the lights on? Should we feed everybody? And that the plague was a boom to the whatever our healthcare system is. And is there anything the free markets, the free markets in the healthcare system haven't exactly done a super job. And so, like, are we at the point where it's like the free markets will decide if we keep the lights on? Free markets will decide if human beings should get to eat food. I'm for the people. All the way. I think everybody deserves a better quality of life. So hopefully the last 20 years were us learning, training in school, in Space Force together. And that we're finally going to fly Spaceship Earth on its maiden voyage in the near future. And that is awesome. Because a planet where people aren't fighting would be great. Some countries have been at war with each other for over 100 years. It's like, why are we fighting? I love you guys. Stay cool. Thanks for hanging out with me. Oh. Spooky October. But I can still see the Christmas tree lights. From here, as spooky or as dark as it's going to get. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all. It's like the whole world has been living in a reality show since 2012. And now we get to get back to real life. Thank you. Thank y'all. The Mars energy is so heavy, bro. And it's going to be so heavy until the 6th. And that I believe each person creates their own energy field, magnetic field, electric field, whatever you want to call a sound field. So yeah, now it's time for Earth to team up. Well, I don't know, John Wick and his dog, man. It's like Forrest Gump and then John Wick and his dog. Went Forrest Gump, Matrix, John Wick and his dog. I think that was right? And Act 1, Act 2. Now I'm talking totally crazy. But it totally feels like there are 7 billion people on the planet. So all the little conflicts that can be avoided daily, like we are all in that shit together. Like avoiding conflicts daily. For example, one of the things of civilization when you leave your house is agreed upon, unspoken and written rules, driving and traffic. And so when two people don't do it very well on emotional and egoic levels, you get road rage. And so like for the next 2 or 3 weeks, all Americans have been primed for like emotional on foot road rage. And so yeah, definitely now is the time for the team to do everything they can to help de-escalate all conflict in all situations, whether it be local, state, city, town, country. The Christmas spirit. We're going to celebrate. The human spirit. And make it worth celebrating again. Although it is still worth celebrating, it's just like a lot of the good people have not had a chance to do what they do best all the time in really great ways. I was talking about just think about how many moving parts are in life as we know it. Pick two, water and light. To keep all of this going and continue it going on a forward narrative timeline that is life. Water and light play like these super giant, mega, and fire, ice. I think that is one of the craziest things about life is at the end of the day, nobody can really explain what it is, what this is, how we got here. Nobody knows, man. We all got here, and nobody really knows exactly how we got here, why we were put here. And why light, darkness, water have worked so well together since the dawn of man. The luminosity aspect of the moon and the sun. We don't understand that. What? There are aspects, because they're both light bringers. And people are like, well, the Bible says light bringers. It's Satan. And so there's always been a weird anti-light thing where you can't learn about planets, you can't learn about light, you can't bringing light has been in one term associated as bad just because it's a light bringer. It's Lucifer, the light bringer. And so if light were bad and darkness were bad, what chance do we have? But these are two luminal objects that every day of our life have given us light. The moon takes days off. Or clouds obstruct. But you know what I'm talking about, that you ain't got to pay an electric bill for the sun. How'd it get there? We don't really know. Who put it there? We don't know. How long it'll be there? We don't know. And the sun and the moon change like every day. And the light in the sky change every day. And Da Vinci wrote chapters on light. Angels in the heavens. And Venus has been associated with the morning star. And that is what is weird. I don't think Mars is evil. I don't think Venus is evil. I don't think planets are evil. I think towards humans, they're neutral. And that is a crazy balance in part of the like water and light balance. Earth. Darkness is an element. At this point, if I had to say yes, no, yes, I would guess darkness is an element. And if I did die of a virus this year or next year, then I would have died with like a zillion unanswered questions in my brain of things that I always wanted to know, or some things I really thought I would understand more when I got to be this age. And so, if there has been one thing that has surprised me, it's that how confusing everything is and everyone is 20 years after tons of higher education. So like everything's confusing, everyone's confused, and everything's expensive. And that, like I said, that I'm even confused a lot. Where I'm saying, "Hey, what are we doing? What are y'all doing? What's happening? Wait, what were the options?" And I always go back to the space shuttle. Like, wait, why did we get rid of the space shuttle? Why are we getting rid of the space truck that in the future when I had children, I might get to like, hey, let's go see the moon. And if it's a good enough space truck, I could bring my dog, my cat, and my horse to space or super upper orbit. And you can just fly around the planet and you can move stuff in your space truck. That we were like two logical steps in technology away from the space truck I always dreamed about as a kid. And so maybe in 2000, we weren't ready for space trucks. So hopefully in 2020, we are ready for space trucks. But it does feel like the whole solar system is in on it, the negotiations. You know what I'm saying? Just like many of us are in on the next decade together. So please forgive my confusion and my impatience. And I definitely do not know how good my performance will be as your planetary defense commander over the next week, because these are crazy times for all of us. And it's a big week. I mean, it has been exponential crises all year long. And I've been like, hey, this is the Jupiter-Saturn rock and roll conjunction in December. So that is where the party is. And what is going to happen between here and there, I don't know. But that when we make it past the craziest 11 months we've ever known in our life, there will be the fruits, treats, and rewards of all the good work done over the last 40 years. It'll finally all come together. And that is amazing and awesome. So take things like water, fire, earth, oxygen, and then you add in a bunch of creatures and even like 7 billion human beings, all their possessions and things, the stars, the heavens, the sun, the moon. And all the elements in the periodic table, that is a lot of moving parts that are happening at all times. And so yeah, if I die today, what was the purpose of life? Love. Because a good life is definitely worth living. And together we've been doing amazing things for thousands of years. One of my favorite things in the world is Christmas fudge. And a long line of people, human beings, had to come to figure out how to even make fudge. To go from hunter-gatherer to creator. And Earth is like the room of requirement. Solar system probably as well. And that the team that's pushing for peace is still here. Peace is still an option on the table. And to me, it's the only option. And so, yeah, the purpose of life to me would be love, family, friendship. The greatest kisses I ever had, that was... Those moments were definitely some... But But I sure, like, I would die today with so many fucking... I have more questions in 2020 than I did in 1990. Like, in 1990, I had maybe, like 150 questions. Like, in 2020, I got so many. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Jesus was at year 0. And then the Aztec American European thing was at year 1500. And so, like, 2020 is everything, the future, and then, like, all the religious or mythological tales, legend, humans have told each other since the Tower of Babel fell on what happened before everything was created, or what happened before everyone was born, and what will happen next. Because you got a world of belief systems. And no two people look at the world the same. Seven billion people waking up believing in something. And somebody might say, I don't believe in anything. And then you could be like, well, the sun is there whether you believe in it or not. Yeah, when we wake up every day, we wake up believing in something. And I do believe a backbone of civilization has been fellowship and brotherhood. That other people's beliefs should not deny people fellowship and brotherhood. Especially when you got 7 billion people. So regardless of what your belief is in the election or the creation of the solar system and life or God, you're still my brother and my sister of Earth. We're all in the same family. And I think the bitchy part of me gets annoyed every time I even have to explain that to people. Where I'm still confused, like, crap, I thought we would be at this stage. Where regardless of eye color, skin color, penis or vagina, we're humans, family. And then if you throw in the whole, like, drawing up all these invisible lines so you have fucking countries to see who owns the land and has government power over that land and its people. See, I think it's dumb when the family fights over state lines or national lines. We're all God's children. So yeah, as your planetary defense commander, Star-Lord New Thor 7 the T, I definitely believe we're all God's children. We're all magical creatures that can learn how to tell a good joke. Somebody's out there like, no, we're not. So yeah, for like a couple years, we become a world of hecklers. That's why we don't have movies and TV and rock and roll and concerts, where we just became a world of hecklers. Where everybody's heckling everybody all the time. You know, like Heckle and Jide? Or is that Jide and Heckle? What was his name? That's definitely not a way to spend holiday season heckling each other. But these are holy days. And I'm very glad I get to spend time with friends and the planets and the moon and the sun. And there's definitely a lot of Mars energy around. There's definitely a lot of lunar energy around. There's definitely a lot of Jupiter energy around. There's definitely a lot of Saturn energy around. And although I cannot see Pluto, the Plutonian energy is thick. Plutonium, have you ever heard of it? Hey bro, can I tell you about something fancy? Here you go. Plutonium. Well, it's not all star stuff because some of it is planet stuff. Okay, I can't verify that. Technically, I guess you could break it down. Planet stuff is star stuff. And so last night's October show in the sky was not spooky. The moon and Mars looked super duper duper awesome. And so yeah, definitely recommend for the last few months, people spending a lot more time spending time outdoors and staring at the heavens. There's another full moon. We had a full moon on the 1st of October, We have a full moon on Halloween. And then we got an eclipse in November. But so we got like a Christmas bookend. And I'm definitely hoping the Halloween energy is much better than whatever the October 1st energy was. Because that shit was crazy. And that situation is still unknown and unstable. It's going to be a big week. And people don't really have a representative to be like, hey, I mean, all governments are doing new stimulus bills. Everybody's got to figure out how to bridge the old economy with the new economy. And they always, quote unquote, ground level way they're always happy to go in is money. And so we know regardless, they're going to roll out X amount of stimulus bills and packages, not just here, but across the globe. And so for Americans, like I was saying, that the real thing right now is whatever help they're going to give people between now and 2022 is like super duper duper important. And it's best to have a plan, because in a pre-October level, yeah, they would, like, they've been cutting the people out. Not a lot of people have been worried about the health and of the public, making sure people are fed, making sure the lights are on, making sure people aren't getting evicted from their homes. Talking 30 million people who lost their job, like, boom, because of no fault of their own. That, like, no matter what happened politically, that from February to now, there has been no large, great push to make sure that people are okay with whatever changes are going to happen over the next year and a half, or at that time, 2 years. And that neither system has been geared towards figuring out in major times of need how to gear towards the people instead of the political machine. We've got an advent calendar of October surprises. And so, even on the advent calendar of October surprises, you know, when we opened up October day one, like, it knocked me through a loop. And I've been recalibrating ever since. And so that was just like October surprise day one. And Jordan Maxwell was like, expect October surprises from space in October. and all the astrologers, stars, and planets seem to agree. Yeah, October's like, but I'm like super geared towards optimism. And that's probably how I'm gonna stay. And I think regardless of what happens with the election, that you're gonna have at least half the country totally disappointed and crestfallen. And everybody's super frustrated about what to do and how to deal with the virus. And us making no progress in negotiations on how to help take care of the people during these stressful times, regardless of what challenges may come our way in the next year and a half. Yeah, I don't know, man. One more and I'm done. Maybe. And so definitely for October, is be cool. Like, being cool has never been more obvious of a good strategy. And if you got to make it through Hades with karma and luck, being cool is the way to go. And to me, definitely, 2020 feels like a mix of all the mythologies here now at once. And yeah, I would guess there are people out there who do not know how to be cool. So I guess I'm gonna have to pray more. This energy is really just so crazy. That is not a good term, intense. It's today the 4th. Like I said, I've been drinking. This is day 3 of me drinking. Like, the energy is literally, like, for me personally, is that And yeah, sure, it would be great to run away with my girlfriend for like a month. Not have to think about any of this shit. I prepared us as well as I could. I don't think that's gonna happen. And so here tonight, you're the closest thing I got, baby. And that's why I'd love to have a girlfriend that is like the most, to me, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. That is like, has a face like pure magic. And that literally like the whole world melts away from her face. And all I can be like, oh, I want to kiss you. That taking a magic portal away from the real world. A girlfriend is always super great for that. Because there's so much energy. Like there's so much happening right now. The energy is so just incredible. Because we as people have feelings and emotions. And we've all been feeling stuff through the whole year. And we're all definitely feeling stuff right now. And then you combined in Hurricane Delta, and then there was Selena Marie Gomez. Although not associated with the hurricane, that for a while was pointed towards California, but it's supposed to lose its strength and not bring in much more than a little bit of rain. But definitely with the two, this will be the second time this year we've seen two tropical systems in the Gulf of Mexico. But yeah, so I'm in Houston, which is that area. So I can definitely feel the energy coming in. Or whatever's happening down by the Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala. And then like Popocatépetl and even Fuego, before 2019, they didn't erupt that much. And then after 2019, they erupted like all the time. And so I'm lucky I get to be here with you. In Rocksteady Rocktober. And I do think I've done a good job all year. Wasn't perfect. And so I've been talking about October all year, and now we're here. And I think I will calm down in a couple days, maybe, hopefully. It's a weird fucking week, man. Like, to me now, the idea of even making it to 70 seems such a weird, not weird, but just the concept of that is so wild because, like, it has been crises after crisis after crisis since 9/11. And that so time has been super heavy. The energy has been super heavy. The energy is super heavy. I'm chain smoking like a fool. That's why I've been romanticizing hand holding a lot. Hand holding is such a very cool gesture. And whatever energy may be surrounding y'all, that when you hold hands, like binary system, your co-energies can help you co-manage whatever energies are around you if you're holding hands. And all this doom, man. It's like an aphrodisiac. Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like my intuition is still off. And that somehow my desire for the most beautiful face to kiss, to make my work words disappear, melt, throws off my intuition. So it's like a vicious cycle. So here I am holding your hand. And I hope we make it to space trucks in my lifetime. And so it's like, are we gonna fuck this up? It's like, yes or no. It's very tipping point binary, event horizoning. But it's felt like that for a while. Wouldn't you agree? Except October is next level-y. guess I'm trying to send out the Christmas spirit to everyone. In a non-denominational kind of way that doesn't offend anyone. And that may be part of the thing that makes me crazy and stupid. Where I've spent a lot of time going, why can't we make everything awesome? And there have been a lot of devil's advocates going, well, let me tell you why we can't have awesome things. So this week is like, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, the moon, the sun. And Jesus. I'll find out if my Jesus will protect me through this month. And Archangel Michael. And all the cool animal spirits. And all my forefathers. But if I did catch the coronavirus this month and then die, I loved y'all. I love y'all. Let's try and do better next time. We're almost there. Okay, I'm gonna go check out the hurricanes and shit again and try to recalibrate. Well, I'm definitely out of my groove. Or it does feel like Game of Thrones, and I've been saying winter's coming for a long time. And so now, like, we're in October and still got most of the public arguing about zombies. And the plague is not going away. One of my predictions was that lockdowns will be back in October. And that while they've been trying to feed the stock markets, that the actual data they've been giving people hasn't necessarily favored anything else other than the stock markets. And so once Saturn went direct, and then after we passed the Pluto point, like, we'll start to get more of the real data, I think. And so lockdowns will, they're already rolling across nations. And I wouldn't be, and they're already, like, the United States is 50 fucking states, man. It's not one guy who, like, waves a wand. 50 states make calls, and then every town and city. And we've had 8 months to deal with it, and everybody's been here has been focused on an election so much that it's like an underspoken thing that the election would take care of it. Yeah, we'll have a strategy, we'll fix it after the election. So it's very October-y. And so, horror movies and virus movies and this is where the big battle is being fought in October, and it really is us versus the virus. That whatever strategy we're going to take with us into November and the future, that it may not get weaker until 2022, but that it will get weaker. And what are we going to do to make sure that we make it to the roaring 20s? And we're all going to be much happier when it's over, and that it will one day end. And a year and a half sounds like fucking forever, but we already made it through 8 months, already like 1/3 of the way. We do not know how strong it's going to get or how much it's going to mutate. But at the winter wave period, we find out. And so October is definitely a spooky month. We are dealing with a plague from space or whatever. What we need now is patience, teamwork, and good ideas. God bless everyone. Stay cool. I'll talk to y'all soon. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are tremendous. Merry Christmas.